Hello and welcome to this lesson on soundproofing, and today I'm going to be talking all about Deciboard, which is a soundproofing product out there that's supposed to help you with improving your isolation in your room. So before we jump in, I do have a resource for you. This is my free soundproofing workshop. It's 45 minutes of in-depth teaching going over everything I know about soundproofing. So to watch it right away, just go to soundproofyourstudio.com/workshop. That is soundproofyourstudio.com/workshop. All right, let's jump into this lesson on should you or should you not use Deciboard. So first, let's go over what Deciboard is. So Deciboard is a manufactured soundproofing product, and it is marketed as an all-in-one solution for soundproofing your walls. And the way that it works essentially is that they ship you these boxes of these really heavy boards with some foam backing on them, and then some glue. You buy the glue separately from them, and you can buy even some material to cut the Deciboard with. So you can buy like a box cutter, and you simply follow their instructions, glue it to your existing wall, and voila, you have better isolation. So that is the product in a nutshell. And it sounds great, right? You're like, okay, awesome. But there are some things to look out for before just jumping into this product and looking at, is it really going to isolate? And then is it worth the truly premium price that it costs to get this material? So to figure all that out, let's look at a comparison of the effectiveness of the soundproofing ability of Deciboard versus typical 5/8 inch typical drywall that I would normally use to design home recording studios or soundproof rooms. If you followed my channel for a while, you know that mass is very important. And if you're new to soundproofing, you need to know that the weight of the materials that you put on your walls is really what does most of the work with the sound isolation. There is more to it than that, but in this situation, we're going to compare the weight of the Deciboard to 2 layers of 5/8 inch drywall, which is what I would use on one side of my sound isolation wall. So this is the best way I can compare the two products side by side. So the weight of Deciboard in kilograms per square meter is going to be 24.07 kilograms per square meter. And then if we look at that in pounds per square foot, it'll be 4.93 pounds per square foot. So pretty good solid weight to that. Now let's look at the weight of drywall per square meter and per square foot so we can compare the two. So 2 layers of 5/8 inch drywall is going to weigh 21.48 kilograms per square meter, and then it's also going to weigh 4.4 pounds per square foot. So when we compare the weight of Deciboard to 2 layers of 5/8 inch drywall, they're similar, but Deciboard actually weighs a little bit more. And that means that it should have better isolating sound qualities, better soundproofing than just the 2 layers of 5/8 inch drywall. But it's important to notice that these aren't off by a lot. The weights are very similar, and therefore they're roughly comparable. I should point out too that this is not a totally fair comparison because the Deciboard also has this ability to decouple itself. However, the decoupling is kind of an interesting subject because technically there's no much of an airspace behind the Deciboard, so when you're adding it to the existing drywall, you're mostly relying on the system behind the existing drywall for your airspace, and then you're just basically adding more mass to your wall, and then the foam backing is providing a little bit of decoupling, meaning the sound vibration can't transfer to that internal layer of drywall as easily. I will point out too that this is an interesting concept that I've covered in another one of my videos, and I read it in Philip Newell's book, Recording Studio Design in the 4th edition. And he talks about this idea that if you don't want to demo the existing wall you have, you can actually use rebond foam, or reconstituted polyurethane foam is another name for it. And this type of open cell foam can be glued to the existing drywall, and then you glue 2 layers of, in his case, you'd call it plasterboard, but 2 layers of 5/8 inch drywall to the rebond foam, which is exactly what Deciboard is doing. So clearly either they read Philip Newell or got the idea from him somehow, I think, and then created a product that they could then market and sell. So I want you to know that this product is not a new idea necessarily, but it is one that's packaged nicely for you. And if you wanted to cut some corners, you could certainly get the rebond foam, the open cell foam, glue it to the wall, and glue 2 layers of 5/8 inch drywall, or even 3 layers of 5/8 inch drywall. And it would also work. It'd actually work better because you could probably get thicker foam and more mass for less money. But the one thing that you'd have against you is you have to buy all the products separately. You have to do all the labor. And Deciboard is saying, hey, we can just ship this to your door and you're ready to go. So now let's talk about the next important thing to consider, which is how much does this cost compared to just doing normal, what I call normal or traditional ways of soundproofing a wall? So Deciboard ships you a box and it costs $141 per box. And in that box are 2 of the Deciboards. And the Deciboards are roughly half a square meter, so a little over a full square meter when you get one box. So $141 for like 1.08 square meters is I think what it came out to. Now, if we do the math, the cost per square meter exactly for Deciboard is going to be $130.56. So pretty dang expensive. And then the cost per square foot for those of us in the Imperial system is going to be $12.13 per square foot. Now, to give a comparison, let's look at the cost of 1 layer of 5/8 inch drywall and then the cost of doubling it to get 2 layers of 5/8 inch drywall. So 1 layer of 5/8 inch drywall is roughly $5.72 per square meter and 53 cents per square foot. So pretty cheap. And if we double both those numbers, we get $11.44 per square meter for 2 layers versus the $130 per square meter for the Deciboard, and $1.06 per square foot versus the $12, over $12 per square foot for the Deciboard. So you're paying 12 times the cost, for the ease of use and the fact that it's just shipped right to your door and easily goes over existing drywall. And I will say maybe there's some value to that. And I'll talk about that a little bit more in this next section. So this comes to sort of the last idea here, which is when would you use this product? Do I recommend this product? And I would say, rather than being super harsh and saying, no, I would never use this product, Deciboard, I'll say maybe there's a time and a place for it. Certainly if you're in an apartment or just a home where you want to quick and easy, just like throw something up on the walls and have it do something, have it improve the sound isolation a little bit. And if you're willing, if the price of the product doesn't scare you, so you have the money, you've got the resources to just have it shipped to your door, and you could probably do this on a weekend, honestly, by yourself, by the looks of the video, I would say maybe there is a market for it. Clearly, there's a market for it out there. How well will it soundproof? Probably pretty good for like lowering the volume of talking or like a TV next door or like noisy neighbors. It could help. But I would say that it's probably not going to do too much depending on your existing walls for like low bass frequencies, like music studios, things like that. Really, really loud music, or really loud noises on the other side of that wall. And again, the point that I just made there, that you're adding this to your existing wall. It's meant to just go over your existing plasterboard or drywall. So if your existing wall is really thin and flimsy and doesn't have a lot of weight to it to begin with, then you're probably not going to get the results you really want. And also with soundproofing, you got to look at both sides of the wall. So if you only have access to one side, it would make sense to put Deciboard on both sides of the wall to make this really work. And they don't really talk about that in their videos. So just know that there's a lot of limitations to just throwing drywall up on top of existing drywall. And this product is really meant for the homeowner that doesn't want to spend a lot of time or money or research learning how to soundproof. For those of you who are more serious and want to actually build like a home recording studio or want to have a room that's very quiet and like you won't have any issues, I would say you're going to have to take a more custom approach. And that's mainly because you're going to have to think about things beyond the wall. Like the Deciboard really is not marketed, I don't think, for ceiling use, and it's not really marketed for the floor because you don't want to walk on it. So they have other products, I'm pretty sure, that they recommend for those. So you have to spend even more money, and then you're not even factoring like the doors, the windows, and your HVAC system where sound can travel through the ductwork and bypass the wall altogether. So there's so many things to think about, which is why I have a whole channel and a whole career around soundproofing is because it's not easy to do. And so something that's marketed to you as like a super easy, fast solution that costs a lot of money is probably just that. It's probably a super fast, so easy solution that costs a lot of money that gives you, decent results, not the full end results that you're probably looking for that higher end professional use. So that is my words of wisdom and advice for this product. And maybe in general for all products that kind of quote unquote are these soundproofing silver bullets that are marketed out there, is like, hey, take a second, think about it, learn about how the physics and all the math works with soundproofing, and then say, hey, is this product going to help me, or is it probably just overpriced and maybe not really the best tool for what I need to do? So I hope this video has helped you decide whether you want to use Deciboard or not use Deciboard. What I really think it comes down to is, do you have the money? It's going to cost a lot to use it. And do you want something that's just going to work good enough for your situation, which might just be normal, typical noise in a house. But I wouldn't expect it to do much more than that. So with all that said, thanks so much for watching. And I will see you all next week with more information on soundproofing and acoustics. And if you're going down that path of trying to soundproof a room, definitely check out that workshop at soundproofyourstudio.com/workshop. And I'll see you in there. You can watch it at any time and start learning right away. All right, I'll see you all next week. Thanks so much for watching or listening on the podcast.